Actually. 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 Actually.
What's up, my black people?
Oh, wow.
Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Actually. I am so excited for this episode. This is the last Friday of Black History Month, so I felt like it was only right for us to talk about black people. And today's episode is called Actually, That's Racist. Now, I just want to start off by saying this is not an episode we're going to bash people of non-color. This is not a we hate white people show. This is not an all white people are evil show. This is just a show to shed some light on some facts because there are some misconceptions about race, racism, and other things. So to help me discuss this very interesting,
Two of the blackest people you know.
interesting topic, I have the two homies that were on my first episode. Welcome. Well, Brad, you kind of be
I
all
did
the
a
time.
second episode, too.
Welcome to the show, B-Rad. Say hello to the people.
Hello, black people and other people. What's up?
Also, Jerry, say what's up to the people. To your people.
What's up, good people?
All right.
You talk into the mic, not sideways the mic.
I talk to the mic how I want to talk to the mic.
Okay. We're not going to start the show with any black on black violence, all right? So, first, okay, we're going to talk about a lot of things. This is probably going to be our longest episode ever. If you know me like you say you know me, like you should know me, you would know that race is one of my favorite topics to talk about other than sex, religion, and politics. So we're going to first start with racism versus prejudice. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit y'all with the headline, okay? This is from my heart. This is my truth. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
You ready, Jerry?
He's not.
Black people can't be racist.
True. Wrong answer.
That's the
Now,
truth.
I don't believe it.
let's add some things
That's
to
because
this.
you've been programmed.
Oh,
She about to hit us with the
indoctrinated.
definition. I'm
I'm
not
going to hit
indoctrinated.
you with some
I'm
definitions.
free.
Because you know I'm all about words.
Where Webster from? Come on.
Pause, my brother.
Facts.
That's what I'm hit y'all with all episode. My brother.
Well,
Until
I'ma
y'all
call
get to
you
acting
sister.
ignorant.
I'm going to call you
Till
sister
then
this
you going to be a
episode.
nigga.
Call you sister.
Anyway, so I say that to say black people can be hate-filled. They can be prejudiced.
Mm-hmm.
They can, have negative thoughts or feelings toward people, other people.
Some warranted.
Right. Oh, hold on. But black people
What a show this will
cannot
be.
participate in the system of racism because it was built against them. So let's go to some definitions, okay?
Go ahead.
Got my handy dandy paper here.
Come on, Dora.
Construct we do
Racism.
not participate in.
Belief in the superiority of one particular race. So let's break down the word racism. Let's start with the suffix ism.
Ism.
Okay. It says appearing in a loan word from Greek where it was used to form actions, nouns from verbs. On this model, used as a productive suffix in the formation of nouns denoting actions or practices, okay? Practice. You got to practice racism, okay? I mean, you got to do it.
You
All
got to
right?
do it.
You got to do it. State or condition, principles, doctrines. Hello. Indoctrination. Didn't we just say he was indoctrinated? A usage or characteristic, devotion or adherence, etc. Okay? You understand?
No.
What y'all mean you understand?
He don't. I do.
I picked up what you put down.
Did you?
I mean, I fell asleep on the definition a little
Okay,
bit,
you know
but
what?
I caught
You
most
gonna
of
try and
it.
find a way to walk
I'm
around
about to
Basically-
jump right over it.
Basically, black people do not possess the power in this country.
any country.
Okay, facts.
When I
To-
talk about it, though,
Okay, you gonna let me finish?
come on now, it's your
Okay.
show. You could always finish.
Black people do not possess the power to oppress or suppress another demographic of people,
Can I
whether
ask
it
a
be
question?
who you can love, where you can live, what
Okay.
schools you can go to, can you get a business loan. These are all things that black people and or other people of color experience in this country. Therefore, you cannot participate in that. Now, you can be prejudiced and you can say, you know what, I had an experience with a white person before or a Hispanic person before or somebody, and I don't fool with y'all or I don't like y'all. That's just your thoughts. Your thoughts not keeping anybody out of a neighborhood, out of a school, out of a job, out of the bank, any of that.
Unless the
It's
company
just-
is owned by black people.
But you're not oppressing an
but that's-
entire
yeah,
You're not
race
oppressing-
of people.
You're not
That's
oppressing
not
an
racism,
entire
bro.
race of people.
But let's
I
go
get it.
back to the
I
but
get
that
it.
is what the definition is.
You know
It's-
what? I've been slightly swayed today.
You're, Hey,
I
by
have
the
for the
end
first
of this
time.
show,
For the first time.
we're gonna wash
But I
your
have,
mind.
I have,
Please,
but by
baptize
the end of this, no.
We
no,
gonna
first of
get
all,
you
first of
right.
all, you know, like I said when we first jumped this off. Now we have talked before about my viewpoint on whether or not black people can be racist.
They cannot, just so we clear.
I think, based upon your definition,
It's not my definition. It's the definition.
no, it's
I don't own it.
It's a definition. Based upon definition, I haven't double checked this definition.
So
It's right here on the paper. I
now
gave
words
you a
don't
copy.
mean.
your paper not
Oh,
dictionary.
okay.
Listen.
So we
based
throwing
upon-
words
Oh,
out.
my
Listen,
my
that's
paper
what
not
I-
the white man's
pause.
dictionary, so you don't
Pause.
believe
Hey,
it.
you know how to be doing all those? Pause. Anyway, based upon what you're saying, I get it. You know, when I've spoke about it before, I've talked about it on the micro level saying, hey, look, I think that black people can oppress people in, say, a school where everyone is owned by black people. And
How?
no, hold on.
A person,
Hold
not
on.
a race.
They can
You
oppress
can-
a group of whites. They can say, we not hiring no white people.
That's
Here,
not racism,
but
bro.
that's not
Here.
racism.
That's
That
not
is not
It's not
racism.
What is
Guess
that?
what
That's
you can
prejudice.
do? You can go down the street.
Prejudice.
Hold on,
You
that's
can go
prejudice. You can go down the
elsewhere
street
to work.
and go get that
But
job.
as a black
But hold
person,
on,
if
time
they
out.
oppress
When
you in one
racism-
place, you
hold on.
still can
No,
go down the
when
street.
racism is
No.
working,
So
you can't use that
racism
as y'all
says, hold on,
defining
no,
it.
bro,
Racism is
listen.
blackballing you
Racism
from
says
everywhere.
you can't use a bathroom in this country. Racism says you can't enter
Read
this
Hold
in
on.
this
I
country.
understand
Racism.
that.
Hold on. So what I'm
I
saying is, bro,
understand that.
you can't be racist, bro. You don't own enough. We don't own enough.
What I am
we don't have
saying-
enough control. Too.
What
Okay,
I
let's
am
get to
saying-
the.
Because I got a great example of
This-
somebody doing some very racist stuff to me that I would really like to talk about later. So let's jump. Because this is a point. I got it. You know, I get it.
Okay, let's define prejudice. Okay, because you know
Please, forward.
this episode.
I just like how black people like to remove themselves from having to be racist.
We
It's
can't be
amazing.
racist.
we
can be
cannot. We
prejudiced.
can't participate.
And-
We can be
Okay,
a-holes.
so
We can't be
prejudice,
prejudiced.
All
a
right.
preconceived
I mean, racist.
opinion
Listen,
that is
I don't
not
think black
based.
people are
Hello, that is not based on a reason or actual experience. This is an opinion. This is what you can experience. A white person can experience in a black place. You can experience prejudice. You're not going to experience
Because
racism.
racism is an
Therefore, things
institutional
like
thing.
right, it's systemic.
Systemic.
It is in our legislation. It is
Mm-hmm.
in it's webbed and weaved into the very fabric of this country. Okay,
That's cool.
So therefore, if now that we know that's facts, we can throw words and terms like reverse racism out of the
Is that
window.
a real thing?
Mm,
Oh,
hell
they try
no.
to
Is that what I just
Oh,
described?
they
Yeah,
trying
it
to say
is.
it, but
Oh,
it's
bro,
not real.
I
Yeah,
disagree.
it is.
Okay, I'm off that now.
I'm glad
Because
you
that's
off
a
of
stupid
it.
term.
It is
Oh,
stupid.
hey,
I'm
we
glad
getting
you
to
off
you
it.
one point in time.
Man.
So here, okay, so let you get back to your. Do you still want to do your example?
Oh man. Woo. Now this thing, it makes me, I just really
Now your example is what, of a black person being racist toward you?
know of an Asian being racist or saying very racist things. And I'm like, bro,
So you know
gonna make
there's
me-
a difference between being a racist and then someone that's
Being
prejudiced
prejudiced.
or being culturally insensitive.
well, he was culturally insensitive. He was about to get a culturally insensitive headbutt.
Oh.
But because I'm a
Did I
black
tell y'all my headbutt story? Oh,
No, I have
did
heard
tell
it.
y'all my headbutt
because
story.
I'm a black man growing up in the United States of America, we have to exert excessive amounts of control
Mm-hmm.
because the system is slanted towards making us look like we're very aggressive.
It's racist.
And it's very racist and like monsters. So
So do you know where that actually comes from?
come on,
That comes from this movie. Oh, I don't have the
Uncle Tom's
date.
Cabin.
No. The name of the movie is called Birth of a Nation.
Oh, I hate
Not
it. Yeah, I
Nate,
can't watch
not
that.
Nate
Not
Parker's
that
Birth
one.
of a Nation.
Yeah,
Not the
the
one
original.
about Nat Turner.
Oh
the
yeah, the
original
one where they
one
used
that-
it to make black people look like they were beasts and they were
Exactly.
animalistic and the way that
Dehumanizing
they-
black
yeah,
people
yeah, I got
during
it.
Reconstruction because now you have all these freed African slaves. Like, what do we do with them? We have to continue to perpetuate the narrative that black people are lazy, they're savages, they're inhumane.
How can we be lazy
they're
though? If we
monsters.
built the
Sexual.
country and we were slaves.
Monsters.
It's an amazing concept.
It's not the truth, but I'm saying these are the narratives pushed
a
about
lie.
black people.
Well, I just
so
say
the
that for the
examples
people
that
that
I
believe that.
have here are, well, black people are lazy. they have the same
Yeah.
opportunities to build wealth. Well, we've done that with Black Wall Street, and what happened?
They blew it up.
Blew
But the
it
same
up.
opportunities don't exist.
Bombed it.
Hold on.
I met
The
I
U.S.
met
government bombed a city.
a city in America. But see, listen,
And lied
Not
about
just
how
that
many
one, though.
people
It's
died.
happened many
but
times.
beyond that though, when you start talking about the same opportunities to build wealth, I actually literally met someone one time, like a white person, right? And they were talking to me, and they were like, "My grandfather was an engineer." I'm like, bro, we couldn't even read legally. Your grandfather was an engineer. You had time for people to die, life insurance, able to build your family wealth. It's a totally different type of thing. So this whole concept about everything is on an even playing
It's
field.
not.
Oh,
And I
it's
just like
not.
to put it in
You
a
know, it's
time frame as this, because people like to say, well, that was a long time
Oh,
ago.
we're gonna get
Let me-
there. We're gonna get
Oh,
there.
I'm
'Cause
skipping.
you-
I'm jumping.
Check your notes,
I'm
baby,
You're
because
not
we
on the
can't
notes.
prepare
I'm
for
not
this
on the
show.
notes.
Okay, let me
Okay.
get the
Okay,
notes.
so Black Wall Street was an example. Also, black people, you can own your own businesses too. Blah blah blah. Black people are lazy. Black women having all
When
these
it's not free,
children,
it's
and
amazing.
they don't have fathers. Blah blah. But I mean, a lot of black children don't have fathers because of mass incarceration. But we're gonna get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
So, fun fact about black women, because I'm black and I'm a woman, and I enjoy it.
You gotta throw the queens in there.
Female black-owned
on.
businesses have grown in 2019 164%. 164%. 2.4. There are 2.4 million female black-owned businesses.
My baby mama is one of them,
Oh, I'm one of them too. Shout out to your
Man.
baby mama. Hey, no, she a girl.
and my wife, and my mama too.
Your baby mama and your wife that you was about to say.
If I had a baby mama and a wife, I'd probably be dead.
You probably would. Hey, Miss
Yeah.
Joyce. Shout out to
I mean,
Miss
my
Joyce.
real mama.
Also, so that's according to Forbes.com. And also, black women earn the most postgraduate degrees of any other subgroup of people.
I think that's
Black
because
women
they're
is
smart.
out here.
Facts.
You
Y'all not,
think
I
they
think it's
could
because they're
smart.
smart and y'all not having it.
Facts.
Black women are exceptional.
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 I don't know nobody greater.
Yeah, we do know somebody.
In the
greater.
words of Vashawn
Nobody
Mitchell,
greater.
searched all over.
Mm.
Couldn't find nobody.
God, I'm not participating in this
I looked high
blasphemy.
and low.
Facts.
Still couldn't find nobody.
Mm.
Nobody greater. Who wrote nobody greater? Never
You
mind.
just said
That's an
Vashawn
inside joke.
Mitchell.
It was a joke. Okay, so let's move on to systemic and institutional racism, because this is another point to how black people cannot be racist, because we don't have that type of power. So institutional racism is a form of racism expressed in the practices of social and political institutions. Okay? You got that? I just want to make sure you're listening, because you don't agree, and I want you to.
I already
Understand
said.
at the end of the
First of
show.
all, don't even try to play me as I'm blacker than black. So they even try to play me as the person that we got to talk to for the show. I'm not that person.
No.
I'm not that person. I just like to argue the point about whether black people can be racist.
It is reflected in disparities regarding wealth, income, criminal justice,
Mm-hmm.
employment, housing, healthcare, political power, and education, among other factors. Not even Oprah, Jay-Z, and Michelle Obama can.
Oh, no, their kids get caught outside the neighborhood. It's gonna be a problem.
What?
Their kids get caught outside. They subjected to what we got going on too.
Oh, every black person
all
is.
black. Yeah,
Nobody,
they all black.
nobody gets a pass.
I do believe in the have and have.
What did
nots
Kanye
thing.
say? Even if you get a Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe?
Well, I don't know if he believes that though with those Kardashian kids. He might not think
Well,
that.
I mean, that's pre-Kim Kanye. I tell y'all, anytime I reference Kanye, it's pre-Kim Kanye.
Free Kim Kanye.
They ain't excluded.
Who?
Oh no, I know, but they beige, bro.
That's all right.
They
not
really,
excluded.
they look like they more like Middle Eastern Mediterranean.
Which
They
ain't
got
she
still
Armenian?
young.
They
Guess
got that
Guess
Armenian
what
on
happened?
them.
Man,
Those
okay.
Armenian people
Let's
got
not
strong
start
genes, I
about
guess,
Armenia.
bro.
But anyway,
Is Armenia like a black place too?
Is
Really?
it Armenia or Armenia? I don't know. I
First
ain't
of all,
never
we talking
been.
about the Kardashians. Let's stop.
let's talk about this
Okay,
at
you
the
right.
foot of the
Yeah,
Caucasus
stop.
Mountains. But anyway,
Ooh,
It's at the foot of the Caucasus Mountains.
absolutely.
that's where the white people that thought they were superior
So-
come from. That's why I stopped calling people
Anyway.
Caucasians,
Yeah.
Why?
because that's what they call themselves. That's where that term comes from.
Yeah, they were from the Caucasus Mountains, but weren't they like the people that had their skin was so light and they went up there to go
It
hide?
just
or
means you
something?
can't survive in the sun. Anyway,
Shine on me.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
I can't really make as many jokes as I normally make on the show.
why?
This is kind of I'm really focused.
Okay, so
I think I'm holding back a lot.
let's get back to the points. So slavery. So a lot of people will argue that slavery was over. Slaves were freed. You guys should have figured it out by now. Okay.
Oh wow.
The other another factor is colorism. Brad, you're a colorist. Or a shadist,
I can't be a
actually.
colorist. My mom was light skinned.
Your mom was light skinned?
Yeah, as she aged, you know,
You
how
get
light skinned
darker.
people as they age, they get darker. You gonna get darker. It's just a
You
thing.
don't make me cuss you out.
It's just a thing.
The breakdown of the black
Even the
family.
real light ones, everyone gets darker. You gotta go to the dark side.
You done?
I am.
The breakdown of the black family. The prison pipeline, underfunded schools and community services and initiatives, limited access to healthy food choices, limited access to hospitals or clinics, negative images on black people in the media, whether it be movies, reality TV, or the local and national news.
You didn't hit a few. Can I say one?
So let me just give this point. I'm actually writing a paper right now. I have a class called Race, Gender, and maybe it's race, gender, class, and media. And my research paper this semester is about the disparities in representation in the media, black people versus white people. So I kind of have like
disparity with all races, though. I've noticed. But we talk about black people right now. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. Because if you're going to all lives matter this thing, we're going to turn your mic off.
I wouldn't say that though.
I'm just saying. You kind of did.
No, I didn't.
You
I
kinda
think
did.
that. No.
Anyway, so I kind of have information overload. So that's why I had to really write a lot of this down so that I didn't just get on here and like vomit on the mic. So you want to touch on these points?
I would like to. One
Okay.
in particular,
Let's go.
the HEB that was formerly on OST and Scott Street. Now, this may one day impact my sponsorship opportunities with HEB, but it sucked. And
Oh, it
the
was horrible. That produce was disgusting.
horrible. The produce was horrible. And then when I would go to an HEB on Westheimer or somewhere else in another neighborhood, the first Roma tomato I grabbed was firm. HEB on Scott, I don't even want to eat from them. They look like flies, bugs in there. But this is the catch, though. The part that I do not like, especially about it, is they go and build another HEB on McGregor. As our people can do, we are excited. We got an HEB in the hood. We know, though.
That it only came because the gentrifiers came.
And why, when they launch the HEB, they have the gall, the audacity
To have TSU.
to have TSU come
Yeah,
over
I saw
as
that.
if you care.
Right.
You don't care. The only reason why this is here is because, and so that's the
Pandering.
Pandering, thank you. But that is the disparity in, like, bro, when you shipping tomatoes, who designs this? When you're shipping tomatoes across the city, who says the good Roma tomatoes go over here and the bad ones go to the raggedy HEB off OST and Scott, or the Kroger's that exists over there off of Polk and whatever that in the bottom of
Polk
Third
and
Ward,
Cullen.
right?
Does Kroger's?
Polk
is
and
it-
Cullen.
Does it have an S or is it just Kroger?
Who knows? But I
It's
hear they like the
Kroger,
largest
But
retailer.
it's Polk and
retailer.
Cullen.
It's Polk and Cullen. They suck too. And the I don't even understand. And first of all, how even in a neighborhood that size, Third Ward is where I grew up at. How in a neighborhood that size you have so few grocery stores to even begin with, as if black people don't buy food.
Bro, there's literally
better
one
go to
grocery store in
Fiesta.
Fifth Ward.
It's the craziest thing.
Man,
better
and
hit
like a
Fiesta.
loaf of bread that's like $5.
Which is why
That's for y'all.
we need quality. My passion is not grocery. My passion is media. We've talked about this before. But somebody need to be a grocer. And somebody need to let God use them and put some grocery stores in there.
What's the
Pie Burns?
No. What's the NFL player who retired? Beast Mode. What's his name? I'm
Eric
just here
Thomas?
so I don't get I do not like that screaming
But
Negro.
I do like him though. He ain't for everybody.
He not, cause he don't lower his mic. He don't have to yell at me for me to understand.
Eric is cool.
It's fine. He delivers a great message and he is speaking to
I tried
somebody.
to send her a lot of your videos, but you didn't
Nah, he
realize she
bust
can't.
my speaker. He ain't about to bust my good iPhone. I paid good money for that.
Good money.
What's the guy's name? The
The
football
guy
player.
who said he just here, but everybody knows who he is. I'm just.
But
here
I
for
need
the-
his name. Jerry, you don't know his name?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. Right. He didn't he open like grocery stores like in Oakland?
Thank you, Marshawn.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
I actually have
Facts, I believe.
a homeboy. I don't know if I can call him my homeboy. We used to work together at Papa Dough. His name is Plies. Sorry, not Plies. Plies Montgomery.
I was gonna say, what Plies getting out the car?
Man,
Somebody
he do
tell
shoot
me.
all his Instagram videos in the car.
Everyone I think about has to do with his acoustics.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Anyway, he has I hope I'm saying this right. He has like a food market
Mm-hmm.
in up in Dallas in Oak Cliff. I should have got some information so I could tell people about it. If I have listeners in
Oak
Dallas.
Cliff? What?
Oak Cliff.
In
Man,
detail?
I had a roommate in college who was from Dallas, and I
Mhm.
used to always say she's from Oak Cliff, but she really not. But
People gonna
growing
claim
up
hood.
in Houston, I always thought like if you from Dallas, you from Oak Cliff,
Nah, it's a bigger city. Than
and
that.
it's actually Oak Cliff.
Oak Cliff.
I thought it was Oak Cliff.
So yeah,
Anyway.
I feel you. So I think that this is a disparity in food. I don't understand it. I think it's the craziest thing ever, and I think that it's although the new HEB is cool, I'm like, forget y'all.
Yeah, no. Okay, so these are, but to your point, these are examples and reasons why Black people cannot be racist. Like there is a system at play.
That's actually absolutely something systematic going on.
Right, but these are systems at play that affect every aspect of your life.
Sounds
Like if
systematic.
you are in,
I like tomatoes.
if you are in an
they try to
area
make you
that
feel
someone
good
would
about it.
dub the hood, it hasn't always been the hood. It may have been an affluent or lower middle class
Like Third
neighborhood.
Ward was a
But then you take out resources.
Portions.
You stop funding schools. You stop funding the community center. Now the kids don't have anywhere to go. Now they're outside. You got a problem with that. So then it's a lot.
or district drawing. I lived in this neighborhood.
Oh, gerrymandering.
Whatever. Yeah, that word.
Mhm.
I lived in a
That
neighborhood right outside of Bel Air, right? My kids went to a school inside of Bel Air. The apartments that I lived in were a finger-owned property, which is typically going to be luxury brands, a luxury brand, but it was old, right? So it didn't look like it was luxury anymore, but it still was a finger property. Y'all, these people had so surgically drawn out this thing. I'm talking about apartments that were closer to the school were not zoned to the school because they had a high population of maybe Hispanic or African American people. Homes far away that were right across the street from the low income school were zoned to the school in the middle of Bel Air as opposed to going to the school right across the street. I was like, well, look at what these people have done.
Oh yeah, especially in school. So I was working at a school in Katy in 2013, 2012, and that's when they were transitioning from I think like the TAS test to STAR. And when STAR first rolled out, it was like 14 exams. Like these kids had to take all these exams, and then they cut it down to whatever it is now. But the only reason that they went back to minimize the amount of tests and the structure of the test is because the white students were not performing well on the test. And if the white kids not performing, then something got to change.
Facts.
And it's also in your books. Matter of fact, we went to
We got to start saying after each point, actually, that's racist.
actually it is.
Okay.
There is we went to Mount Vernon, like George Washington's estate up in like Virginia or whatever.
And people stop visiting these plantations and posting pictures on the internet.
But
don't
they
wanna see
don't
that.
call them, and that's another thing. They don't call them plantations. They
showing
call
the
them
slave
estates.
quarters. It's a slave quarter. It's
Plantation.
like plantation.
Right.
Why
But
do
I'm
black
saying,
people go? Why are black people doing that?
why
we
do black
looking
people
for
go
something
to
to reconnect to.
reenactments though? That's what get me.
Like, are y'all insane?
Because it's lies.
But anyway,
They've been
so instead of calling
told
them
that's
slaves,
part of your heritage.
they call them.
You know what they don't reenact?
What?
The Holocaust.
Oh no, you can't even speak about that in Germany.
Exactly.
That's big trouble.
Exactly.
But you can
can't
have
fly swastika. You
nope.
can't. It's all been banned. Yet in America, we tell you that's your history.
I had somebody at Walmart tell me when the
Southern
guy had
pride.
a Confederate belt on, one of their contractors. I said, hey, ma'am, he has a Confederate belt on. I don't think that he should be your contractor in the store doing that. At least take the belt off. She said, well, that doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. Ain't this some shit?
Okay, so let's talk about that. Here's my thing with the Confederate flag. That flag
Oh,
represents secessionists.
Dissension.
They did not want to be a part of this country. So the fact that this
They were
flag
traitors.
means so much to people, and they feel like it is their American culture. You didn't want to be a part of this country.
It's
That's
a-
why you got your
it's
own
a-
flag.
It's a hidden way to express a racist
It is.
culture. And it's
Yeah.
like, bro, and no one's an idiot.
Yeah,
What
but if you say a thing long enough, it becomes that. So they've said long enough, oh, this is just our heritage. This don't mean
Okay, so your
we
heritage and your
racist,
and
or-
your culture
it's
is
based in racism.
is
racism.
rooted in racism.
Thank you. I don't care how you clean it up, how you rewrite it. It's racist. The Confederate flag should be in a museum like the Nazi swastika. If you get mad when you see swastika, you should equally get mad when you see the Confederate flag.
But it lessens
Period.
the magnitude when you have it in the media. So what's the name of that show where they had the car?
yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Dukes
about?
of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard, right?
Mhm.
So if you normalize it,
You normalize
and
it.
and it becomes, it's kind of like why there's not an Amber Alert for every missing child, right? Because then you'll be desensitized. So when you normalize it, you become less sensitive. You become, less sensitive to it. So people can push this narrative that it's a part of a culture. But the fact that people identify this flag with who they are, but don't acknowledge what the flag actually means, like,
I think they're lying though. I think that they say that.
They
in
know
public.
what it means.
They say that in
they know what
public
it means.
because they know it's not politically correct for them to come out
They
and
know
just
what it
say,
mean.
"Hey, listen," because they got to go to work the next day with somebody black or somebody of another race. But they know, like, yo, we play dumb now, but we don't like you, bro, and that's exactly what this means.
Yeah,
So that's just that.
they know what it means. They not confused.
But this is the
at
catch,
all.
though. This is the catch. This is the catch, and I think this is the place that we go to as black people. Like, bro, I don't even care. If
oh
you
yeah,
on
I
that-
would much rather you
when
just
people-
come out and tell me that you hate black people than me having to figure it out through like some microaggressions or like a rogue Facebook post.
Microaggressions, love that.
Nah,
But, no,
'cause
this is
we
what I'm
still-
saying.
We still.
But I would know what I was dealing
No,
with.
I'm saying this. I'm saying this.
accommodating racism.
No, I'm
you
not
know.
saying. I'm not saying about not accommodating. I'm not saying accommodating anything like that. I'm saying this. It doesn't matter. First of all, it's kind of like when they say when somebody say, "Man, devil, you should have kept me when you had me." You know when they say that type of stuff, right?
What?
When you know how in church they'll say sometimes, "Devil, you should have kept me when I had me. Now you don't have me anymore." I'm
No,
sorry,
we don't
Lord."
say that at my church.
Girl, you go to way down deep Baptist. Y'all say somebody that said that there. I guarantee you.
In Wheeler.
Somebody that said that there. Why y'all over there knocking down Frenchies? Anyway,
Ain't nobody knocked down Frenchies.
they didn't build some all
Facts.
down
I
the street.
told you
They
that
done
God
converted
gave
the
a
old
vision
shipments.
to my
Now-
pastor.
now we can't
for
even get
growth,
into
and
Frenchies.
Frenchies was not a
parking
part
lot
of
ain't
the,
big enough.
I
of the
done told you.
vision.
I done told you now good Christians out there. I done told you about how I saw the pastor vision gentrify that part of the neighborhood.
First of all,
All them
I
little
just
shotgun
can't
houses
even believe
disappeared.
y'all so mad
Y'all
about
call it a parking
chicken.
lot. No, I'm talking about the gentrification of the hood, but we go digress. It's another show. But those were a lot of houses that took up y'all parking lot. I just want to say. And I'm sure that all the political connections helped to pull all that land together.
Opportunities on.
This is the work of the Lord, okay?
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
Nah.
let's get back to the
Anyway,
point
let's get back to the
about
point.
how people think that after slavery things should have been all good or whatever. So we talked about some things. We talked about colorism because obviously we as people cannot come together and work towards any type of resolution if we have a lot of infighting, right?
Yes, we
That's
can.
where colorism comes into play. Also, you have the
Everybody
breakdown
wanted
of the
Martin
black
Luther King.
family, which also goes back to slavery, separating the family, breaking down the family. Everyone knows that when your family dynamic is broken down, that can affect you for generations
Yep.
to come. Prisoner pipeline, having just imbalances in the way black people are sentenced versus white people, and sending black people to jail just because maybe they can't afford to post their bail. Isn't that what happened to Khalif Bauer? Like they thought he sold a backpack and he was at Rikers for 2 years because he couldn't post his
3
bail.
years.
Or 3 years. He couldn't post his bail.
Couldn't
And when he
afford
finally
bail.
gets out, he commits suicide because he was like in solitary confinement. It's a really sad story. But things like he's not an isolated incident. And that's also another point I want to make. People feel like, oh, people like Khalif Bauer, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, all these people are isolated incidents that are like, no, these are just the people that got a lot of media coverage or got a lot of noise and chatter behind them. But things like this are happening every day.
Like to my nephew right now.
Exactly.
Come on, AJ Armstrong. They out here trying to steamroll him.
Yeah.
No. What Black Lives Matter? Where y'all at, man? Come on.
I mean, rally them up.
Rally
put
them.
on
They now.
blast.
They no.
Okay,
no.
we're not going there.
I'm just saying. I am just saying. I don't know. I can't be the judge. I decided not to participate in that movement because I participate in other ways that my gifts lend to. But I don't know. I don't know.
Cash
think
bail
that-
is racist.
I don't know what they doing. I don't know
The
what
cash
they doing.
bail system is racist.
What's cash bail?
That's where you got to go to jail and you can't get out.
Oh
till you
yeah, it's
post
horrible.
bail.
It's based
It's
upon
racist.
limiting people who are impoverished.
Yeah.
But the whole goal is to fill prisons that are privatized with people that are
Facts.
impoverished
Yeah,
that no one's gonna care
like
about.
Facts.
privately owned prisons is insane. insane.
Filling
It's
dollars,
another
filling
plantation.
pockets.
Dude.
It is a plantation.
And when they freed the slaves,
That's
they
what
said you can only be a slave
Hold on.
if
That's when the black codes came.
Oh,
Come
look
on
at
now.
your paper. What's next? The evolution of
Come on
racism.
now.
The black codes. The black codes, sometimes called black laws, were laws governing the conduct of African Americans, freed blacks.
Yeah.
The best known of them was passed in 1865 and 1866 by Southern states after the American Civil War, basically during Reconstruction, in order to restrict African Americans' freedoms and to compel them to work for lower wages. So let's go back to after slavery. This is right after slavery. This is Reconstruction. You have the
everybody
movie.
thinking they free, they walking off the
You
plantation like it's
have
going down.
Birth of a
walk
Nation
right
that
back.
comes out.
Only
You
have
have the
police
black.
officers created.
You have the black codes, but then you have these millions of black people who have been freed. That what do they do? They're not free with a college education. They're not free. Matter of fact, where my 40 acres in a mule?
They took it back.
I used to know the guy's name who said who wrote the legislation to like repeal that. I can't think of his name now. It's hard to remember every white man
He was
that ever
president.
done us wrong. No, he wasn't a president.
The dude who issued the order was a field general. The person who rescinded that was the president.
Which president?
Man, I'm gonna have to look it up. But he was
Come
the
on, man.
president.
You
He
smarter
came
than
and
you
took it
look.
back. He said, "No, we not giving them no 40 acres and no mules."
But you know what though? We need to have that. On another point now, and this is no shots being fired right now, but we need to have that as a part of Black history. There's one thing I want to speak on. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5, 4 for sure. Schools that I know that recently canceled their Black history programs all on some stupid stuff, like just dumb stuff. And I'm like, bruh, y'all black.
So
How you canceling it? One was because testing. The other one was because, which I can get to an extent. The other one was because, the students trying to take over the Black History program. I'm the Black History program coordinator as a grown up, so I don't want to do it. Another one was because, Worthing High School canceled their Black
Andrew
History
Johnson.
program.
Andrew Johnson was the president.
Andrew did a lot of stuff. Worthing High School. How does Worthing High School cancel their Black History program? And I'm like, bro, you just ain't even black no more. We gotta start taking black cards.
Revoking?
You've been revoked.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got to get deep in it.
But
we
I'm
like
saying,
to tell Black
you gotta have
history
the but
that make you
have it deeper
feel
though.
good.
No, but I'm saying,
You
but
gotta
have the
tell
type of stuff
Black
that you're
history
talking about though.
that
Like
matters.
Andrew Johnson repealed the 40 acres and the mule.
Yeah, he
You know what
absolutely
I'm saying?
reversed that.
Like stuff like that. But dude, if we are I hate when people bring up black people doing stuff to black people when we talking about black advancement. But in this particular case, it's like my daughter, she went to a Christian school. They go the whole Black History Month. I'm like, man, hold on. Ain't nothing happened. It's not the fact that it was a Christian school. It was a predominantly white school, right? So I'm like, are they going to celebrate Black history? She was like in the first grade, my oldest kid. And then at the end of the month, I said, hold on. I said, bro, so y'all ain't enough Black history. I went and talked to the principal. I said, hey, nothing have Black history. You know what this man told me?
What the man said?
This man said that we have had black families here before. Okay, so first I got to look at you under my eye when you first say that. And they told us that they don't want to be separated, focused on like that. And I said, well, I'm a different type of black person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need y'all to do Black history, bro, because this is crazy.
So,
That's a whole nother thing.
That's
but
a
I'm
whole
tired of black
nother
people doing that
situation.
type of stuff. That's what I attribute
I
the
mean,
fact that you
so,
cancel Black history programs.
But okay, another layer of just systemic and institutional racism is the fact that you go through school and your American history is white centered, but you have to take an
It's
elective,
white history.
right?
To
But you
learn
have to
about
take an
your history.
elective to learn about black people. So this idea that we don't need
What
black
elective?
history.
I
You
didn't
might
see
have
that
to
till I
go to
got to college.
college. You might have to get
definitely
to
did
African
start learning
American
the real
studies.
about black people
Okay.
and slavery and
What
just.
a
I mean, there's so many people
Yeah.
I didn't know about until I got to college.
I was
But
about to say, you had to
again,
get to college.
you have black people that never make it there, so they never get access to that information. But there are some schools that, I mean, my school, where that was an elective. If you wanted to do like African American literature, you wanted to do like any other class, but if the goal, like Jerry said, if the goal is truly to right the wrong, then it needs to be integrated, and it's not
We've
integrated.
already identified, though, through actions that the goal is not to right the wrong.
It's
the goal
not.
is not to even identify that there is
a
wrong.
wrong.
Remember, they
There
just
you
tried
go.
to make slavery sharecropping
Yeah.
in the books.
Do y'all
recently.
know that they just like this week have made lynching illegal?
It's the craziest. I really have been refraining from cursing on this episode.
Hey, this is
But
you
I mean,
can
like,
curse on
I'm
this
over
show.
Here, I'm over here like this. Like, bro.
You look tense in the chest, man.
Bruh.
Let it out, black man. Let it out.
Listen. I am not for it. I am one that absolutely believes. And I'm not saying in a situation of superiority. I'm not even saying in a situation of equality. I'm talking about in basic humanity. Mofos. Why do you not get that? It's the same thing. You can't blow the Asian people off the side of the mountain after they get through building railroads. You can't say, hey, black people, we put you in slavery for 400 years and now we're mad about it. Listen.
We mad because you bring it up.
Because you bring it up.
So here's the thing.
That's like
It's
a
like,
Jewish
I
person
don't-
saying,
I
hey,
don't-
German people, we mad that you talking about
But
that.
the thing is, it's like we want you to forget about slavery. We want you not to be affected by that. We don't want you to think about that. We don't want y'all to make a big deal out of Black History Month. But 9/11, never forget. Like
We say never
I
forget
understand.
about everything except
slavery.
But you know what?
Slavery.
One of my mentors told me this. He said, Brad, you know what the Jewish people say? The Jewish people say, he said the saying that they have amongst themselves is basically, it's something, but never forget. And so but let's talk about that though. Let's talk about how maybe the fact that, do you think that the fact that the Holocaust isn't talked about as much because of the financial prosperity of Jewish people in
But
America?
remember that those people were given reparations, and that's
Facts.
a huge factor.
everybody got
Those
reparations.
people were given
except
reparations.
For black people.
That country apologized. They made things illegal.
Matter
They
of
still
fact-
Well, it
reprimand,
sounds like maybe we
reprimand
should have been
people.
slaves in Germany.
Huh?
Nigga, what?
Well, hey.
Man,
Maybe
cut
they
his
gave us
mic off.
reparations.
So listen,
Please.
after you have the black coats, I mean, these are just
'Cause
examples.
America not gonna act right. It's just
These
is what
are
it is. Black people
examples
gotta just
of
be
the
like, F them. F it.
Listen, these are examples of the evolution of racism because people feel like when slavery is over, then racism is gone. Racism doesn't exist anymore. So let's take a trip down the history lines. So then you have the black codes. So then next after the black codes, you have everybody's favorite, Jim Crow. This is 1877 to 1965.
65.
Let's give some context.
Breathe.
My mama was born in 1966.
Oh,
I'm gonna give you a little more context.
My mom was born in 1953. My dad in
I-
1954. I look
about
at
to
people
So
all
the
time.
point I'm trying to
It's
make
a lot
is
of racist
people
people
feel
still
like
alive.
we are so far removed
Forget
from this,
alive.
and
This
we
not
are
a long
not.
time ago. Listen, I
My
always tell
grandfather's
people,
the same
my
age
grandma
as Emmett Till.
was 30. My grandmother was 39 when she got the right to vote. My mama was 11 before she even thought she would have the right to vote. My sister was the first person born in our family to be born with all her so-called
Inalienable rights.
inalienable rights.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And my sister is 40. No, she's not. How old is Renetta?
She not
45,
44.
45, 44.
45,
She
something like
44. First person born with all her supposed rights. So, yeah, I keep talking about it was a long time ago, bro. It was yesterday. It
Yeah,
was a long
these
time
people
ago.
are
It's a long
still
time ago
alive.
for y'all.
They are very much so still
You
alive.
know.
They're very much so.
Very
Still
much
alive.
so.
Like,
Very much so.
Y'all talk about this was a long time ago. It wasn't. It really wasn't.
I had one of
It
my
really wasn't.
bosses
and
come
that's
sit
their
in my
excuse for
office.
not. They wanted to be a long time ago because that's how they use. That's what they use to say, well, we shouldn't owe you anything.
First of all, let me tell you something. This is the first catch. I don't want nothing from you.
You a lie.
Oh, I want
You
mine.
a
No,
lie.
I
want
don't.
mine.
I
Let me
want
tell you
mine.
why.
I
Let me
want
tell you why.
mine.
You a
Let me
lie.
tell
I
you
want my
why.
papas
I
that
don't
never
want
got
nothing.
his.
Listen,
I
thank
want
you.
my great granny that
I'ma
never
tell
got
you why
hers. I want
I don't tell
mine.
you why I don't want nothing from
Man.
you. Because this is my belief. Because if I'm sitting up here waiting for you to give me something,
It,
thank
it
you, I'm
ain't
not
about waiting.
I'm not
You
waiting.
owe me.
But you owe me.
So
They
when you
not
come
gonna
around
give
and get,
it. They're
Whether or not you
going
gonna
to give
give it and whether or
So
not
I
it's
don't
owed
want
is two
nothing.
different
I'm gonna tell you what
things.
I'm gonna do. I'm
Whether
gonna tell you what
gonna
I'm
give it
gonna
and
do.
whether it's owed two
I am
different
going
things.
to go and take everything that's mine. And that's my mindset. So when a man comes to me and you underestimate me because I'm black, I'm like, thank you.
Have that mindset.
I'm like, thank
but you
'cause
have to also
by the time
acknowledge,
you
Brad.
figure out what I'm doing, I'm gonna be too far down the road.
But Brad, you also have to acknowledge that that's not everyone's mindset,
Yeah,
and you
you
have
can
that
have
mindset.
that
But I'm
mindset.
saying we need to
But time
switch
out.
to that mindset.
Hold on,
No. We should, but you
no.
only think you can only envision and dream about the things that you see.
Unless
so
they
everybody
watch
is
Ashley
not
Carter
exposed.
podcast and Ashley Carter out here preaching that.
that's
Why?
what I'm saying.
Why are none of our leaders talking about that? Man, forget them.
They-
I don't
they're
care
doing a
about
whole-
no reparations.
Oh, no. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't care
We
about
No, let's
none
be
of that.
clear.
We care.
I
don't.
care
Don't
about
listen to me.
reparations.
We care.
I don't.
We've managed
I
to
don't.
survive without them,
So
but
let's
they
strive.
definitely still
Let's strive.
do
Let's go get
unto
it.
me.
Martin Luther King
You
said we
cannot
coming to
stop us.
Washington to get our check.
And what
And
happened?
we ain't got our check. They killed him. We coming to Washington to get our check. We ain't got our check yet.
Because
So-
they're not giving us a check. They don't even want
Hold
to
on.
admit that they were slaves.
Hold on. Listen to me.
Let's think this through.
Whether or not they gonna admit it don't matter. What I'm saying is
You're not getting a check.
I'm not changing my stance. That brother was right when he said he was marching on Washington to get the check. We should still be
Your
marching
camera
on
not over
Washington
there,
to get
right
the
here.
check. I
Stop
don't care
looking
what
at
the
mine.
camera
Stop
is.
looking at mine.
I'm not looking at
Because
anything.
we really not
I'm
looking
just
at
talking.
cameras today, boy.
I'm
We
not
in this
looking at the camera.
conversation.
All I'm saying
Hey, bro,
is,
stop fighting.
this
That's why we can't have family on the show.
You know,
I'm not fighting him.
you can't.
We all family.
In the
We black.
words of the late brother Martin Luther King said, you undergirded the white settlers, right, economically, and the white farmers and everybody in the country that was white. You gave them all kind of
and they still do stuff like that.
substantial financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
Taught them how to make businesses and how to farm and all that kind of stuff. And when black people say, "Hey, we want a little help," you say, "Oh man, you gotta pull yourself up by your own bootstraps."
Because the system is slanted towards
Hold on.
us not
But
coming up.
listen to me. Even if I had to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, not
Because we
only did
have.
you not help me, you made sure that you hurt me. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem.
That's the
That
problem.
is
Live
the
in a
problem.
country
That's the
where
problem.
not only you're not gonna help, you're gonna go out your way to hurt, to harm. We can't even get to the point where you do no harm.
Right.
And then you throw your hands up like we crazy when we say, "Bro, you hurt me." Hey, look here. Malcolm X said,
Ooh.
"You
t-shirt.
put a
God
knife
damn it,
in
you
me,
can't see it on the camera.
right? You put your
Man,
your
don't
knife in
direct
my
my
back,
show.
Okay.
and you
Especially
think
let's
it's
not fight.
progress because
You took it
you
out
took
4
the knife
inches.
out 4 inches. Well, the wound is still there, and even if you pull the knife all the way out, the wound got to heal. You won't even admit you stabbed me.
So
And I'm paraphrasing that. That wasn't exact, but you get the point.
we do get the point. So listen, some examples of what you were saying, like we said earlier, would be Black Wall Street, would be a Malcolm X, would be a Martin Luther King, would be a Fred Hampton, would be the Black Panther Party, and examples of when black
Come
people
on,
have
Huey.
tried to come together and do right. But that is
And they
not.
still our ideas. You know, the lunch program for schools came from Black Panther Party.
It did. So it's just these things have
When Jordans
continuously.
with jeans came from black people.
Everything we do to uplift ourselves, they criminalize it. The Black Panther Party said all we want to do is make sure our people are lifted up. They said,
It's safe.
man, the FBI got to watch them.
And they wanted to carry guns out
they
in public. But
terrorists.
now they got
That's
open,
fine, because you
open
said that's
carry
our
laws.
rights.
Do
we
you
had
know-
them then. They
did
said that was our rights. They said MLK was a terrorist. Everybody who ever wanted good for black people.
Nelson Mandela.
And this is what I tell people all the time. When I talk about racism and when I'm talking about white people, I'm not talking because white people like to say, I didn't do that. I wasn't alive. Well, look, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the systems your great grandfather set up.
and that are
when-
still
that
aiding
are still
you
running, they're
and,
still
and
aiding you, but-
advancing you.
When we look at systems, your systems are holding my people back, not you in particular. I'm not talking about you in particular.
So
I'm talking about when your system
How
decides
do we change the system?
we're gonna send all the black people over here, and then we're gonna drain all the resources out of that area, right?
How do we change?
Or we're
the
gonna
you-
poison their water.
Yeah, or we're gonna
Or we're gonna take
keep
away
you
their
in
grocery
a- in a-
stores.
in
We're
a
gonna take away
cycle
their
of
community
poverty.
system.
That's what I'm talking about. When your bank say, "Oh, we not giving," even if you qualify,
You know
we
the
not,
Fair
we not
Housing, the Fair House Act was designed for that, bro.
Yes, I
to
know.
help
That's
overcome the fact they weren't trying to get black people out.
exactly.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying is, I'm talking about your systems. I'm not talking about one individual. No, one individual white person not holding me back, but that individual system that y'all created. Oh yeah, it's holding. And people be like, "Oh well, this person made it out. This person made it out." Well, you talking about the one-offs. And I'm talking about what's going to be good for people as a whole, not for one individual. Yeah, I can sit back. I had somebody ask me the other day, talking about, oh, well, you're so angry with Trump. What is he doing to make your life bad? Absolutely nothing, bro. Absolutely nothing. I'm a business owner. Bro.
I told my mama that. I was like, Mama,
listen
listen
to
to
hurt
me.
me. But it would be selfish
But it's
of
not
me.
good for the people.
It's not good for
and
the
it's
people
not just
overall.
black people, it's people, period.
People, period. But
Yeah.
I'm speaking specifically today about my people. So, yeah, what's good for me sometimes may not be good for us.
The problem
Right.
is, I
You
think
see
in
what I'm
America,
saying?
we are not, because it's a capitalistic country, because this is a get yours first
But
country.
it's not a capitalist
But it's
country.
not.
It's not.
Okay,
This
well,
company, this
let me
country
just say
is a
this.
socialist country.
Let me just say
and
this.
the problem is the socialism is going to the top. It's not coming down to the bottom. They lied with
Oh, I
that
feel
Reagan
you. I
nonsense
understand
about
what you're
trickle
saying.
down. We
I understand what you're saying.
give billions and billions and
It's
billions of dollars
capitalistic
to
on the
big
lower
business.
level, but it's socialist on the higher level. Socialism
If
on the
you
highest level.
if you big business, it's hard for you to fail, right? We've
Yeah.
already proven that with the bank bailouts and the automotive industry bailouts, right? We gave them billions and billions of dollars. But then we turn around and say, we can't give no breaks. You bailed out all these companies and didn't help none of them people who lost their houses because of what the banks was doing, right? Because we know the crash was because of predatory lending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who did that mostly affect? Who are you being a predator to? 9 times out of 10, who is it?
The
Poor people.
Okay, then. And them people look like what?
They brown.
brown, black.
Thank you. So you know that this system drained a great amount of net worth out of the black community. A great amount, right? Did y'all help to put any back? No, because we told y'all, oh, we can't give y'all any real help. I mean, they had little programs. You get a couple of dollars, but they didn't really help. Not like they helped the banks. You gave them, I think it was $900 billion. I think their housing
And then I heard
program
they
was
got,
like $100
they
million.
CEOs took like parachutes.
Hold on.
They got paid.
Hold on,
out
they
of
got
that.
paid. And just like with the tax cut that just happened, you say, oh, that's going to help grow business. That's going to make them hire people. That's going to boost the economy. They took that money and put that in tax shelters
Bro.
and started doing stock buybacks.
I think
Ain't
Susie
none of that go
Orman-
to hire nobody. Ain't none of that go to put no money into the people on the street. So, yeah, we a socialist country. Then anybody tell you otherwise is a lie. The problem is the socialism is going to the people at the top. They draining everybody at the bottom, and everybody at the bottom scrounging around like, who gonna give me $2 more? Cause that's what the little tax. That's what you got for your little tax break.
It's tax season.
Yeah, you
All
gonna get
Instagram
extra
posts talk
$2.
about taxes right now.
Yeah, you gonna get extra $2 when we giving 100. Look at the Boeing in Washington. They gave them $8 billion.
The aircraft built.
Yeah.
The same planes
But
killing
hear
people.
me. But tell
Same
you what
ones.
they do with it,
Gave
though.
them $8 billion,
This
and they
catch.
said this was for them to promote job hiring, right?
Okay.
You know what they did with that $8 billion?
What they do with it?
They cut 26,000 jobs. They fired 26,000 people. Now the state of Washington trying to figure out how to get some of that money back. Well, you shouldn't have gave it to them in the first place. You hire people because you need people to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I need you to do a job. I'm going to hire you to do the job.
That's a great point you're
The
giving. but
state
actually,
shouldn't
is
be
that right?
paying you to hire people.
Actually,
Right?
it is.
Okay,
It's
cool. I just wanna
it's
make sure
all
we
a
on
ripoff.
track.
It's just like these sporting stadiums, bro. The
Oh,
taxpayer
that
pay
is
for them.
amazing.
That
The sporting
taxpayer
stadium
dollars
pays
pay to build
Then
stadiums
you can't afford a ticket
that
to go
you
to the
can't afford
stadium.
a ticket to go to.
Can't afford a ticket.
You can't even pay to go there.
I had to buy some discount tickets. One time I
And
bought some
then they
discount
say,
tickets.
well,
from
look
Ashleigh.
at all the jobs, seasonal jobs.
I got a whole job.
They seasonal jobs. They start seasonal jobs. That's what you get at the venues. Seasonal jobs for minimum wage.
Okay. That was a lot. Thank you for that, Jerry.
Okay,
Because normally you don't talk that much.
You don't. This is the most I have ever heard you talk.
bro.
I didn't think this must have been a green light conversation for you. So where we
The whole
stopped.
reason why he grew locks. Just so he can have black conversations.
Why you grew your locks? Just to piss people off, huh? Because you look a mess.
I grew my locks because I felt like it was amazing. I loved how the black people looked at me where I work at. I thought that was the most interesting thing. But I grew my locks because I'm black and I can do what the hell I want to do with my hair.
You
and if
can.
you think you're gonna press me for it, or I already told you what I'm doing. I'm going to get by. Now you can be mad about my hair all you want, but you just gonna get taken. You gonna get taken by a guy with locks. So I'm gonna grow my locks until I feel like it, and then I'm gonna cut them because I'm black and I can go bald and I can grow locks and I can perm this ish if I want to. You see what I'm saying? That's the greatest thing about being
diversity.
me. And I'm gonna do what I want to do.
So let's be clear. It wasn't because the looks were not because you grew locks. Jerry has locks.
They were.
The looks were because your locks were
struggling.
Black people have been institutionalized and they have been taught, some of them, that professionalism looks a certain way and that
well, I don't subscribe to that because I got in trouble a lot at a previous employer for my hair choices. But I'm gonna wear my hair how I want to wear my hair. But I'm not gonna fall, because this is my whole thing about that. All this racist stuff, all these things they do to try to make black people seem like they bad, things wrong. I'm like, look, just pay attention. Close your eyes and open your eyes and see what's going on. First of all, you want them to open their eyes or close their eyes? Close your eyes, but then open your eyes to see what's going on. Stay woke. But first, first of all, to start, a ghetto was not even, if you look at the definition of ghetto, it has nothing to do with black people, but they always reference black people ghetto. Number two, back in the day, I think Jay-Z said, you know why they call the project the project?
Because it's a project.
Because it's a project.
Yeah. Man, first of all, we ain't.
We're not about to sidestep Jay.
Yeah, we go sidestep
Jay.
Oh,
not on this podcast.
We got to figure out what's going on with this Super Bowl situation.
What you mean?
Ah, man,
Speak.
I don't care. I love your music.
Hey, bro, we not about to.
Izzo is probably one of my favorites. Hard Knock Life.
Well, let's move around because we ain't about to badmouth Sean Corey Carter on this here show.
I don't care if Beyonce like her man with his flared out nostrils. That's some chicanery. It looked like he got paid. And hey, bro, I'm not mad about being a businessman. But at the end of the day,
he's not a businessman.
Ain't no social activism.
He's a
happening.
business.
This is what I want Jay-Z to do. Can we get Jay-Z, if you watch it?
They say they just committed $100 million to social justice
reform.
That's what they say.
Man, let me see what rec center they sponsor. Besides putting the NFL and then sending one player out there to go take some pictures. Let me tell you something. First of all, we are not a monolith, right? Jay-Z does not move the whole black population.
Right. One person.
Facts.
Number two, it seemed like when the breakdown happened, man, you got to control music for the thing. Seemed like the Carter family came up, and my whole thing is this. Listen,
you think the Carter family came up?
Oh, he got paid.
Oh, they been up, bro.
No. He been up. You can have $1 million, you can have $1 billion, but if somebody give you 50 more, you got paid. It don't matter that you had $1 billion.
Facts.
And I think that personally what happened is, and I understand in his older age he kind of changing. You know what I'm saying? I see he growing out his hair. I see he's slowing down, doing that type of stuff. But bro, just say it's a business decision. Don't try to run this black stuff by us, bro. It's a business. Because at first he was mad at Colin Kaepernick, right? About the fact that he wanted cameras to come. But then when America lined up behind Colin Kaepernick, that whole little statement that Jay-Z had sounded like an owner, because he talked about being an owner a lot. But it's the catch. Man, own an NFL team. Let's see if they let them buy one.
So let's regress because I did not come prepared to have this conversation. And
like Oprah talk about apartheid on something. I was like, just call
just like anything else.
Apartheid.
Y'all know I love me some Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's cool. I like him
but in
too.
a very respectful way.
I like his music.
Okay, so we were at Jim Crow. I had another point on here, Emmett Till. That was just another example of how, these things are not as far removed from us. And I just want to point out that white woman lied and she's still alive, but she's not in jail. And I will never understand why she's not in jail.
But you understand why black kids get shot by cops and they don't go to jail?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Well, I'm just saying. It's
the same thing.
So let's get to some, it was another thing I had on here that I want to talk about. I think it was called the Hays Code. So I guess I didn't write it down. So the Hays Code.
Got something to do with smoking weed?
No.
You don't.
The Hays Code is a motion picture like code, and it was what kept black people and white people from kissing or having sex on screen. So I learned about this recently, and
I almost had a really good joke.
There's a
Ray J changed that.
There is a documentary on Netflix.
Let me stop.
Called what's the name of the documentary?
Some old racist crap.
Not When They See Us, but I gotta look at it right now. But anyway,
is it one of the ones gonna make me mad at the end?
No. It's a really good documentary. But it's just basically about black cinema through the years, and that's where I first heard about
I've heard of that. I heard of that one.
the Hays Code. But hold on, I'm about to show you.
What's the icon that you use for yourself? That's
the girl from Dear White People.
wow.
I love that show. I can't wait
I
for it
see
to
why
come
we
back.
having this episode
Ain't this
today.
the last season?
Yeah, it is the last season.
She had
So,
said Dear Black People
oh,
probably ran for 20
They
years.
Gotta Have Us is the name of the
They Gotta Have Us?
They Gotta Have Us name of the documentary.
They getting high on black people?
No, nigga, it's not about smoking weed.
No, but when I say getting high on black people, like saying when back in the day they used to say wearing tennis shoes with jeans was ghetto, but now they call it being a hipster. Or 20-inch rims was ghetto, but now it comes stock from the store.
Anything that they call ghetto is just, I mean, ghetto is innovation that hasn't been stolen yet. Everybody knows that people
First
love.
of all, ghetto was Jewish communities back in the day.
Everybody loves, black
Yeah,
culture
you know why?
and what black people bring to society. The swag. Nobody has swag like that.
It wasn't Jewish
I don't-
communities.
I
That's
don't-
what the Nazis put them into before they started
There
killing.
you go.
So, but
So is
it's
that what
like,
we in before they start trying to kill us?
so y'all gonna listen or
What you mean, start
I don't
trying?
understand what's going on.
We here with you, Ashley.
Y'all not here. Y'all together.
No, we here. It's your show.
So no, just in case you needed a reminder. But anyway, yeah. Those you didn't make me lose my thought. What was I talking about? This is why
I'm not
I
here.
should have turned your mic off a long time ago. Anyway, They Gotta Have Us is when they bring up the Hays Code, and it was about just how this is another example of how people set laws and rules and systems in place just to keep black people and white people separate. So to go back, so that was a Hays Code. Then that was going to lead into like Loving versus Virginia, but everybody's pretty familiar with that.
I was about to say we can go further. We can go to marriage, and that's why you have gay marriage today. 'Cause they moved it from an operation of the church to the state to keep black people from marrying white people,
Okay.
and gave state the power.
Do we have time for you to break this down in a few minutes? Because that I need you to unpack that.
I've heard
Unpack
that
it.
before. You ain't know? Watch.
No.
He's great at this part. Go, Jerry.
Okay, so
In a
It
few
used to
minutes,
be-
being the operative
you
words.
didn't have to go to the government to get no marriage license, none of that. You went
Uh-huh.
to church, you got married. That's all you needed,
Okay.
right? Negroes is out in the streets now.
Right.
Y'all can't be intermingling with these white women and these white men. So if I take it from the church to the state, now I have power over saying who can and who cannot be married, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the whole loving thing came from,
Okay.
right? So now the state has the power. Well, if the state has the power, eventually we get to equality. Equality say what one can have, all can have. So when church people get upset about
Gay marriage.
gay marriage,
You can say the word gay. It's
thank
okay.
racism.
Can you?
Thank
Yeah.
racism
Is it okay?
because the state
Yes.
the state can't force the church to do anything. Like if it was just a church function, the state can't say you have to marry them, right? Because you have religious freedom,
Okay.
right? But because the state has control, now we can say, well, the state got control. We need equality,
Across the board.
right? You know, and it's not because I'm saying this because I'm opposed to gay marriage.
No,
I'm
that's
just
not
saying
what you're saying.
that when the church people get upset, especially the Caucasian church people, well,
They call them I think they call them the angelicals.
Evangelicals.
There we go.
those folks, yeah, when
Yeah,
y'all get
evangelicals
upset,
are
when they get upset,
The E for evil.
be mad at racism, right? Because racism moved it from a function of the church to the function
Would
of the
that
state.
be one of the? Would that be an example of when racism fails you?
Absolutely.
So let's. This is a great segue into the crack epidemic versus the current opioid epidemic,
Don't
right?
get high off your own supply.
So everyone
Why keep talking about
knows
getting high? I don't
that.
smoke.
So everyone knows that that cocaine and crack
Or the same.
are
thing.
the same thing. They're just prepared differently. It's like the difference between baked chicken and fried chicken. Still
You
chicken.
know, black people like fried chicken.
Yeah.
I do like chicken, by the way, and I'm not ashamed to say I like chicken.
Bro, fried chicken. is
I'm
like one
tired
the
of
best
black
things on the
people and
planet,
other
bro.
people. They be like,
And
"Don't
I'm
you
a
be telling
vegetarian.
people you like fried chicken?" I
Nah.
love fried chicken.
That's because they have taught you to hate yourself and
You
love
damn
they
right.
will. Come on, pre-Kim Kanye.
Pre-Kim
Hey, bro, don't
Kanye.
steal my
You know what I'm
turn.
saying? Nah, that boy, I'm bad. Man, where's this Negro at?
He gone.
He ain't even no Negro no more.
He
You know what I'm
gone.
saying? He Armenian.
Yee. He yee.
He
Yee in Wyoming. That's where you at.
He a Wyoming?
Absolutely.
Is he doing another show?
Bro, he do.
Because last time he went out to the woods, he came
Okay,
back with
so
something
what
great.
we not doing is talking about.
That was great.
We're
I
not
love that
talking about
album.
post Kim Kanye.
Which album?
He's 86.
The new one.
Listen, so, but if you were caught, so during the 80s, you know, the 80s were great, especially 88. That's when they was making them real, especially around January 26, 1988. They was dropping gems, human gems.
Miss Angie. Wow. She say
Human
human
gem.
gem.
Human G.
In the form of Ashley
That's what
Carter.
a human gem look like.
Hey, man, the world ain't been the same. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Anyway, so you have the law was that crack and cocaine. So I'm just gonna read it for you. Crack and cocaine may be nearly identical on a molecular level, but people who are charged with the possession of just 1 gram of crack are given the same sentence as those found in possession of 18 grams of cocaine. So it's 18-1, right? So this 18-1 sentences disparity is actually an improvement from the previous sentencing of 100-1. This is what put a lot of black people, black women, black men in jail. This is what killed a lot of people. This is what tore down and broke down the black family. This was seen as a self-inflicted thing. Like, you can just say no. Cue in Nancy Reagan. You bring in their programs to the schools,
While her husband was flooding
flooding the streets with drugs.
Come on.
And she gonna get on here and say, just say no.
Just say no, huh?
Oh, child. White people.
Come
Why
on.
is there no Terminator? For
Come
these
on,
people?
Iran Contra.
Huh?
Terminator.
What you mean?
You know the movie Terminator? Like somebody go back.
I've
in the
never
past,
seen the movie.
robots. They go back in the past and kill somebody of importance. Like, why were there no Terminators for these people?
Oh, it's like the Purge meets Back to the Future.
Time
Basically.
out. Because you can't.
You can't stop it because that was systematic.
It's systematic. That's the problem.
It would have been
It's
somebody
not one
besides
person.
one of them.
That's what I keep saying.
Not saying
It's not
that.
one
It's
Yeah.
kind
person.
of like Hydra
So-
on
Cut off a head and 4 more grow.
Come on, I love somebody that'll get my
That had-
Marvel
That
references.
had 4 crack academics. Listen.
But anyway, so the crack epidemic was seen as a problem for black people. That y'all got yourself into this. Y'all need to fix it. You're ruining your communities. You're ruining your home. But now
comes opioids.
white
It's
people
an epidemic.
are addicted to opioids because they are being prescribed these pills at a higher rate than they would ever prescribe these pills to black and brown people, because obviously we have this imaginary
strength.
high tolerance
For
threshold
pain.
for pain just because they used to breed super niggas back during slavery.
Bam.
Uh,
Speak.
I know I
but-
have a high threshold for pain.
But you still
Listen.
feel pain. That's why there's this that black pregnant mothers are dying at such high rates because they're not believing them. I have a friend, a very close friend. She gave birth to her daughter. She left hospital. She kept complaining about a headache. They sent her home. Thank God she had a nurse for an aunt, and she told her to go back in. She had a blood clot in her brain. She could have died. That's the same thing that happened to Serena Williams. It's like, bro, we hurt. You cut me, I bleed. You tickle me, I laugh.
Maybe.
Like, I have the same pains. But anyway, the example that I want to go back to, or the point I'm trying to make, is this is when racism backfires on you, because now y'all addicted to opioids, but now it is a national health crisis. We got to put federal monies into this. We all need to come together and fix this and help these and help
They ain't
people.
give a crackhead
Which
a
I
dollar.
am not against helping people at all, but this is just another example of how to push the narrative that black people are less than, they're inferior.
Let me tell you something. I saw a reality show where a little kid got high. One of them little famous rock star kids. That one, I think, from Kiss, or one of them little shows, Ozzy Osbourne. His little Osbourne kid got high off heroin on the show. First of all, I was like, who are these producers that's letting this boy smoke heroin, do heroin, shoot himself with heroin? Or I don't even know if it was that show. Yeah, he got high on that, I believe. But anyway, I saw a documentary where somebody got high on heroin, and when I saw their eyes roll back into their head like that, I was like, bro, why would you ever put that into your body?
What
And
are
then when
you
I heard it's like
escaping?
one of the most, bro, in the jazz days, they called it black tar. You gonna do something called black tar. And the opioid, the Asians in ancient Asia, they was on opioids. Did you not see? Bruh, this is a classic don't do this. Now, it was disguised. They put it in a little pill that was dissolvable in your body, and you kept doing it. Man, let me tell you something. I'm just gonna be 100. When we lived over there by a neighborhood, I'm not gonna say it, all the mamas was on something. They was like, man, the kids got me stressed. My doctor prescribed this. I'm like, bro, you cannot use drugs to cope through life. So
And now you done drove by your kids down by the lake.
Crack is tragic. Crack was tragic for the black community. I will say this though.
It was
Crack,
intentional.
Crack, and it was intentional. Crack taught me some things though about dope. And
Crack taught me never use a needle
bro,
or smoke out a pipe.
never use a needle.
Crack taught me
Never use a
not
pipe.
to do crack, just so we clear.
Don't use crack.
Well,
Don't use
What
crack.
you mean? Well,
I'm saying, if you're not using a needle or you're not smoking out a pipe, it's hard to do crack.
No, it taught me.
damn
like,
near impossible.
It taught
You
me
see?
that, bro, drugs are
You know
horrible.
what I'm saying?
And like even today, I don't care if they put it in a pill form, bro. What you got going on, bro? That's dope. That's dope. And even weed got dogged. They'll
That's
take
not the
big
drug.
no, but the dope dealer will take big amounts of weed and will spray it with roach spray in order for it to break down very easily, so they can sell it to you in little bags. And so,
I don't smoke weed, but listen,
Yeah.
that's a great way for us to segue into one of our last points. Is about
Who you saw do that?
spray roach spray.
Yeah.
you trying to convict me on show?
Not at all. I ain't mean for you
I mean,
to
this is
actually.
recorded, brother. I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm saying
I didn't
you
see
saw it on
anyone
the
doing it, Mr.
documentary.
Williams.
I'm saying on
Are
the
you a cop?
documentary. I'm not a cop.
Are you planted?
But I've seen
Are you
many
the
people
new-
break
are you
down
the
weed.
I mean, you
Dude,
got a
break
lot
down
of clothes
Huey
I
Newton.
ain't never seen
Huey
nobody
Newton?
spread with roach spray,
Okay.
bro. You feel
That's
me?
probably because you weren't no professional.
Now these are professionals. I'm
Well,
talking
obviously
about.
you weren't dealing
I'm
with people
talking
at the same caliber.
No, I'm talking about a room full of.
Now you gonna convict yourself.
I ain't gonna convict me. What you gonna convict me for? Because I saw some people break weed down.
Come on, go to our point.
You
Ashley.
gonna
I don't
come
know
on,
why
convict
I don't know
me?
why he digressed.
So
I don't know nothing about what you're talking about.
We've touched on a lot.
A lot. This is the best episode ever.
Yeah, no, this is a great episode. I just also want to reiterate
Got
that
point though.
these, I forgot it. Y'all be talking too long. I just want to reiterate that this episode was really just to shed light on maybe some misinformation you may have about racism, about black people, about things that actually happened, things that didn't happen, false narratives, alternative facts, whatever
Right.
they call in lies these
Red
days.
line.
So it's not a bashing
Oh no, I
of
love
white
our
people. And I think
I love
sometimes
the Lord.
when you present yourself to be pro-black or to be proud of your black people or to want to spread knowledge about your black people, that you are there's this misconception that you hate other people. And I do not. And I know this is going to sound like super cheesy and corny and people like, oh, that's what racist people say.
That's
I
the white
have
supremacist
friends
talking point.
of every race. I do. And
That's it.
there is a way.
I do. I'm not gonna highlight it. I just the idea that me telling you how you harmed me is attacking
Or
you.
how you may be inadvertently harming me. So
Is-
that leads us to our
is-
last point as to how you can
White
be an
supremacy.
ally. But you can't be an ally. You can't help. There are ways for you to help. One of my favorite white allies is Ellen Pompeo. She plays Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy, my favorite show. She is down. I mean, besides the fact she got a black husband, that don't make her down. But she definitely uses her position and don't do it. She definitely uses her position and power to shed light on situations. And you have to do that. You have to use your power. You have to use your privilege to stand up and say something and hold everyone accountable. And when you don't, if you're in a situation and you are experiencing something that you know is racist or prejudice or an injustice and you don't say something, then you are complicit and you are just as guilty. I'm going to give you an example that I just got from my friend. She lives in Arizona. She said she was at work and they were playing some game like Taboo or something. And the girl said the word rope. And so the lady, a white lady, says noose. What? Actually, who still teach people how to tie nooses? Where is there a noose tying class? No? You don't want to touch that one? Anyway, that was an opportunity for someone of privilege in the room to say, this is not okay. Like, where would you get? Why would
First
you do
of all,
that?
they gotta catch it. They gotta even be aware. And this unawareness.
Who's not aware that? When does
if you grow
rope
up-
equate?
Listen, I'm gonna give you a great example.
Noose.
My wife has a friend who is. This is not a white woman. My wife has a friend who is Asian. My wife went to a room one time and she said something about the number of black people. She said, "Well, you always know how many black." She said, "First of all, I'm black." She said, "When I go in any room, I can tell you how many black people are in here."
Oh, I'm counting black people in exits.
But this the catch, though.
You see.
This the catch. One day, my wife turns over her palms when they first met. She sees that the inside of my wife's palms are whatever color we call it. It's like a beige or pale, and it's not
Lighter?
It's lighter. It's not like our skin. That's just but okay.
Hey,
It's not
well,
like
I
our
told
skin.
you it's shaded.
It's not like the darkness of our skin. It's not the same shade. She couldn't believe that her palms weren't the same color. That's how unaware, on a very simple level, that people can be, and I think they still exist.
I do. And so another point that I made on here was to teach your families. Like, you really have to educate, especially if you're a parent, you have to educate your children.
'Cause school's
you
not
have
gonna
to
do
let
it.
them know. You have to give them real advice. And I think at this time in society, you may have to have some really intense conversations at which you may deem an early age with kids. Because I have a 9-year-old and he's in 3rd grade. But the first time a white person called him a nigga was in the 1st grade. First of all, what 1st grader just gonna call? And it wasn't like
He was taught that.
my nigga.
Mhm.
Like, you know, if he was
Hands.
trying to
That's what you about to
cover
catch.
it as a
Hands.
word of endearment, like he was trying to hurt him. And so Aiden knew the word. He knew that it was a bad word. He knew you shouldn't call him that, but he doesn't know the history behind that word, and he doesn't know the hate behind it. So he was hurt. But if he knew what he should have known or what he will come to know, that would have devastated him.
I was called one in elementary one time. That was the only time I've ever been called one in my life, and I think I set the precedent. I put them hands on him. He got that day. And then they sit me outside and they called my mama, and I waited for my mom to come, and I was like, do y'all think I'm getting in trouble for this?
Hands.
That's
Not
what I
by
got.
Joy saying press down.
Nah, my mama. She got a baby
Hands.
fro today. Nah, he got beat up.
finna
He
catch.
learned that day.
Hands.
He got the business.
Hey, you got every right to
And
say
we in the
it.
middle of Third War too.
But
You gonna call me that? Oh,
hey,
bro, this can't work.
Be prepared for the response. Hands.
I'm not condoning violence, but I will say this. You can't do something to somebody and gauge how they're going to respond to you.
Well, I was an
At
elementary
all.
kid. I wouldn't probably do it right now.
Yeah.
I would just look at him and say, bro,
But I'm
You out
saying
here
if it was
losing in
my
life.
kid though.
No,
Hands.
if it's my kid, and that's another thing. You have daughters. So although you're a parent, you have daughters. I have a son. And although I think we may share some of the same fears for our children, I feel like my fear for my son is at its peak.
it's much worse for a black boy.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's
and
much different for my daughters.
it
than
is-
it for
Facts.
black boys.
It is the fact that how do I teach him to, if he's ever in need or hurt or needs assistance, to call the police when actually he could have a negative experience with them. So now he's like, where do I go?
You got to go to
What
the
do
old
I
hood
have?
rule.
What's the hood rule?
Never call the cops.
Facts.
I mean, if the house on fire, you got to call
If the house on
911.
fire, you call. But if it's a fight in the street, something going down, you
I'm talking about
never-
extremes.
I never
it's
call the
interesting that you
cops
say that.
unless somebody dead, and then even then, call
It's-
an ambulance.
It's interesting you say that because
That's how I
we were
grew up.
having a discussion in one of my classes
Facts.
about. Remember telling you that well, I didn't. I was telling y'all how I was writing this paper about this disparities in media and how black children are 37% of the missing children in America,
Mhm.
but only 13% of the population of children. Period.
Oh, they out here stealing black kids.
Oh yeah, selling their organs on the black market, but that's another episode. So so one person was like, oh well, black, there are probably more black children that are missing, but their families don't call the police, or the same thing for like battered women, they don't call the police because
Like, we don't care about our
although-
kids.
Right, we do care about our kids, but to your point about not calling for certain situations, black people understand that you have wronged me, but I also know that this call could be the end of your life. And I don't think people really understand that black people have a legitimate fear that any interaction with law enforcement, whether you've had one before or not, you got one foot in the grave.
Might go too
As
far.
a kid, I've had a cop first of all, I've had many altercations with cops where they
Many.
just did way out of line things. But
Many.
one in particular, we ended up in zip ties on the ground because they
Let
said
me tell you something.
gang.
I've been
Face
seeing
first in the
videos on
gate.
Facebook of these people, these cops, these resource officers handcuffing kids. I'm going to tell y'all now, and I don't care if anybody go back and find this video. If I ever catch my child in some handcuffs and
Facts.
y'all ain't call me, I'm blowing the whole school up.
Facts.
But everybody gonna catch these hit. Everybody.
And when you
Oh,
say
and
blow
let
the
me
school up, you
clarify
mean like you
something
gonna fight
as
the
well.
cop. You don't mean like literally blow
No,
the
I'm
school
not
up.
gonna like bring
Okay.
a bomb into the school,
I just
but I'm
wanna be
saying
clear.
somebody has to answer for this. All these grown ass people around. This is a little kid. The video I saw today, so it's fresh on my spirit.
Yeah.
The video I saw today, the little girl was sick. She had
Mm-hmm.
a behavior problem. First of all, let's talk. I understand kids are bad. I used to work in the school. Kids is bad as fuck. But there needs to be time and there needs to be additional resources to give school additional people to understand why is this kid having this behavior problem. They come to school, ask you for a pencil, you go off and now they mad. But they probably, you don't know what they had to do to get to school today. You don't know if they ate. You don't know if they mama crazy. You don't know if they daddy crazy. You don't know what they've experienced at home. So it needs to be more attention paid to why kids are acting out than to just putting them in handcuffs. She's 6. She is crying out for her mama. Did anybody call her mama? And let y'all handcuff my child and remove them from the campus.
Let me tell you something. Well, first of all, schools, I think that schools have a problem with the level of authority that they believe they have. It's always, I went to pick up my daughter the other day. Some lady was like, you can't get your kid. I was like, ma'am, if you're not going to get my kid, it's going to be a whole problem in this situation. I don't care what you think you can do, but you need to go get my child, number one. Number two, I have always had a concern with black schools and how they enforce discipline on black kids. And I think it's way over the top, right?
School to prison pipeline.
They basically treat black kids like, thank you. In black schools, it seems like they treat black kids for them a lot of times like it's a pipeline, like they're in jail. And I'm like, bro, why are you doing this kid? Because my kid go to a school that they way worse than these kids, first of all. Guaranteed. But they over there living free. They don't have all these issues, and you do not have to do this with black kids. But I think that it is a reflection. I think that it's a post-tremor from the stone of slavery, where we think
everything's still a ripple
but
from that.
But I be mad at black people like that. I be like, bro, why y'all over here?
Because the system. The same reason why when I see the police, I see the police. I don't see your color. People be like, oh, it was a black cop. It was an Asian cop.
I don't care about that neither.
I don't care about none of that.
Because it's been proven time and time again that you're more loyal to blue than you are to me.
Yeah, you've been trained by the same system.
And I'm not against calling the cops like if your kid is missing. I'm talking about when we grew up, you call the cops like these people, and I was taught this. These people, although they are said to protect and serve, and I have friends that are police officers, but the catch is this. These people are here. They're here to enforce whatever they deem to be the law. I see you as coming into this space, and you could potentially
most of them don't know the law.
But I'm saying, I see them as coming into this space, and you could potentially hurt people in this space. So
you could potentially kill people. Somebody you can come to this space, and it could be one less person here because you showed up.
Ashleigh. So don't call.
Because I bumped into a door on a police undercover. Matter of fact, it was his personal call, right? He felt I didn't give him enough respect. Him and his partner.
First of all, you don't need respect.
Exactly.
Why you doing a job? Respect? I don't need respect.
First off, you driving through a parking lot, and you almost hit me with your side view mirror, right? Mm-hmm. You gonna get mad at me, but anywho, follows us, right? And pulls out their weapons, cocks them, and says, "Go ahead and run. I'm not gonna chase you." You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So,
you got.
And this is happening to you now. So again, to my point, like these are things that are happening all the time.
So
there was, I knew this show was going to be long, and we're going to close. I feel like a Baptist preacher. I'm closing now. But I wanted to, it just came back to me, the point that I was talking about and how people feel like, well, y'all have had experiences with the police like that. I have not had an experience
They rolled up their motorcycle wheel right up to my cousin's head as they threw us all on the ground in the sticker bugs, pointed things. Then they tried to put me in the back of the car, and they were putting the cuffs, tried to put the cuffs on me, but the black cop walked up and said, man, he can't even fit the cuffs. I was a little boy. All this stuff. I have many experiences from little boyhood, not even grown up. You know, many. So it even tripped me out when all these killings started happening with the young black men. And they were like, and reported. And black moms were like, recorded. And black moms were like, and moms like, we got to protect our sons, we got to protect our sons, as if this is a new thing. I'm like, hold on, bro. First of all, my daddy taught me all this stuff y'all trying to teach our kids right now. My daddy taught me that. Like when I was a kid, Brad, when the cops pull up, keep your hands on the wheel to ask your ID, all this stuff, do this. I learned how to survive as a youth. And unfortunately, for you and your son, right, even if you Oprah one day or on that level, because you'll be Ashleigh.
I will be. I mean,
the reality is those basic things in this country have to be taught. And actually, that is racist.
That is racist. And that is super racist, and it's unfair, and it's not a lesson. So while other people are able to teach their kids to thrive and reach for the stars, like we're having conversations with our children on how to survive day to day.
It goes with girls too. My
And
young daughter, she
then-
look at cops and be like, I have to tell her, baby, the cops are okay. And she's 6.
And then on top of that, then you have to be smarter. Then you have to be quicker. Then you just have to be all around a better person, and not to supersede them, just to be on an equal playing field with them. And that's just not fair. But I have
It's succession time. I came out here to supersede.
I have true fears. I'm talking about deep in my soul fears for my son. Like, it's just unreal. And I feel like white mothers or fathers or families do not have that same fear for their children. And that is unfair. And you have to understand that. You can't undermine that. You can't dismiss my experience. You find a way to be an ally. And also, stop asking black people to fix racism.
Facts.
Just stop. Let's just stop.
We gonna fix something we ain't
I
create.
wanted to get to I wanted to get to microaggressions, but again, that could be
I don't know what
another.
that is.
Okay, so a quick microaggression would be, ooh, I like your hair. Can I touch it? No. Did you ask Sarah to touch her damn hair? I'm not a pet. Don't ask to touch my hair. I know it's gravity defying. I told you at the beginning of this show that I was special. I was magical. I'm a 3-horn unicorn out here with stripes.
3 horns.
You see what I'm saying? And I know you're not
You
used to this
with
level of
stripes.
magicalness.
And they colorful.
But I don't ask to touch my hair. Don't
They
don't.
colorful.
It's
Black
small.
women the most magical things on the planet, bro. You ask them.
Can you say it again?
Black people the most magical things on the planet. You ask them.
No, don't. We ain't gotta ask them. I mean, it's facts.
Black women the most magical people on the planet.
I need you to slow down so that the people in the back can hear
Black people are the most. Black women are the most magical people on the planet.
you. And that is what the kids would call big facts. So we're gonna
Facts.
go ahead and close this show. I feel like we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this because
I done gave y'all. I got
this
to give.
this was very interesting. We didn't touch on a lot of things.
We ain't
There-
go deep. We
really
enough.
didn't.
we did, but
we
it goes so. It goes
You
so
know,
deep.
you know
Jerry.
one thing I wanna
Jerry want to
highlight?
go down Marcus Garvey deep.
Absolutely. But let me use
I don't
one
wanna
thing.
get that deep with
One,
Jerry.
another thing. We
Jerry, for
gotta,
the next episode, when we go deep. You absolutely cannot reference Dr. Umar.
I didn't reference him, but.
Well, I know
He
that's
like
your
to
homie.
talk. He like to bring
You
up
like
Dr.
Dr. Umar,
Yeah,
and
I like Dr.
I feel
Umar.
like just like a broken clock, he write twice a day. Dr. Umar makes some good points.
He
just
makes some
on,
good points,
just
but
on the whim.
he go
But
far
he's
sometimes.
super left.
But what I was going to say? Oh, black people, we got to stop regurgitating white supremacist talking points as well.
Mhm.
Like I just found out this Black History Month that Uncle Tom ain't a bad term.
It's like
I
birth
think we
of a
talked
nation.
about that.
Yeah,
But what did you told me something about how Willie Lynch isn't a real person?
yeah, that's not real.
Yeah, I thought he was a real person. They say
Yeah.
he was a Haitian slave owner that they brought over
Nah,
to get their
teach them-
slaves in line.
Nah.
Your African.
How they gonna
earrings
get
don't
their
have
slaves in line?
Madagascar.
They ain't get the ones in Jamaica.
How
in line.
I'm have Madagascar?
Oh, well,
What they gonna be hanging on?
That's
another
different from
thread?
Haiti, but.
I don't know.
No, so the brother real name was Josiah Henson,
Okay.
and
Come on, man. Make it quick, man.
ultimately he did some things.
Mm-hmm.
He eventually escaped with his
Oh,
wife
you're
and
talking
his
about
up
Uncle
north,
Tom.
and then he came back and rescued and freed another 118 slaves. So you shouldn't.
So he
be
was the male version of
Come on now, Harriet Tubman. Come on now,
When they
Harriet
gonna
Tubman.
put my
Uh,
sis on the 20 though?
As soon as we get this racist out the White House. But anyway, the white Southerners didn't like the depiction of Uncle Tom in the original book.
Mm-hmm.
So they rewrote it to make Uncle Tom a step and fetching Negro.
You're talking about Uncle Tom's cabin, like
Yeah,
Harriet
because
Beecher
Uncle
Stowe?
Tom's her
Okay.
book was based on a Josiah Henson, a real
Okay,
person.
the
She was
original.
depicting the conditions of slavery,
Mhm.
right? The Southern whites didn't like that, so they
Mhm.
rewrote it and they named the book the exact same thing, and they did stage plays and all kind of stuff. And
It's
in
kind
that
of like
rewrite, they made the what you would call somebody Uncle Tom for now, but the real person behind the story wasn't a step and fetching individual at all.
Mm.
And I think he made one mistake in his life where it may have been considered that, but he was just being an honest individual. But he said he regretted that his whole life. But then he got free, came back and freed another 120 brothers and sisters. So stop calling people Uncle Tom unless you mean it in a great way, because the brother was great.
I would say
They have a
okay,
museum
you're
for
not
the
done.
brother in Canada, because that's what he escaped for. I didn't mean
Hey,
to
bro,
cut
you
you
sound
off.
like a historian. Historians typically do too much. They go on too long.
What I was
Cut.
gonna
Let's go,
say,
Ashley.
and we're gonna end the show
Look,
right now
he kept
because
talking.
we hitting the 90 minute mark. I was gonna say another example of that is being when people say you're an Indian giver. I hate that term, because what did the Indians or Native Americans ever give and take back? It was more like you were Anglo-Saxon giver,
There you go.
because you came over here,
Right?
discovered land. That was quotation marks. For
Didn't know
those
how
of
to
you.
survive, and it got taught how to survive, and then did what?
Pillaged, raped, gave them
Pillaged,
smallpox, sent them on a
man.
trail of tears, then gave them land and decided, you know what?
And called
I
it manifest
want
destiny.
That land
Come on.
back.
Nah,
Anglo-Saxon giver. Stop saying Indian giver. I hate that term.
I agree with that.
I absolutely hate it. But anyway,
Can I say one other thing that I think is
oh my
racist?
God. Yes.
Why in America does everybody besides white people have a prefix? African American, Asian American, Mexican American. When they
To
European,
remind you.
they European Americans.
Nah.
Well, no, they don't have culture, because not a lot of white people can tell you like where they came from. They
They all came from
identify,
Europe.
but Europe is a continent.
Africa is a continent.
But I'm just saying,
Asia's a continent.
you would say, okay, so if you have an African friend, right? Wouldn't he say he's Nigerian?
It depends on the he will say he's Nigerian.
Right.
But no, he'll
So-
also say I'm African.
But white people not saying they're European.
I know, but I'm just saying that's racist. Actually, that's racist.
It is.
I agree. We
Like-
shouldn't have, but
Well, it's a
I
way for them
seldom,
to separate you.
right.
Yeah.
I just want them
To-
to be
to keep
European
you
American.
oppressed.
If we,
I had
if
to
we
explain that
African
to somebody.
I
We should. Black
I-
people should start. We should just identifying as American. Period.
Well, when you leave the country, you're American.
Exactly.
Well, you know, when
It's
I write
only
my
when you get
papers,
back
I always
inside these
capitalize the being
borders
black.
do you then become African American
Or Asian American.
or Asian American.
Or Mexican American. Because I guarantee you,
Yeah.
people in China calling the
Because
Asians from over
I've
here.
never
Asian. I mean,
seen
American.
on the custom slip where it asks you for that. It only asks you for your nationality, meaning your country of origin. It's American, right?
I've never traveled internationally. I'm not familiar with customs. But I know you was a fancy
I know
Negro.
what
You'd
you
have been
gonna-
around the
I know
world.
what you're going to like, though, when you do go travel internationally, the duty-free store.
Oh, I hit the duty-free store on the way back from Puerto Rico, even though it went international.
That's it.
Man, I bought a whole bunch of Don Julio.
If you cross that, if you cross
That
the
was
water,
like
you outta
$20.
here. You out of here.
It's not, bro. It's still American.
Nah.
I know.
Right, anyway. Yeah,
They Puerto Rican American.
Yeah.
Nah, they
It's
just
American
American.
on the island.
Oh, they
But
get
you
to
know
be
who don't
American?
think they're American? Yo, president. Anyway, that is all for this episode
Facts.
of Actually Ashley. Again, we called this one Actually That's Racist. I really enjoyed this. I think that you guys were the perfect people to have on this show. Jerry, you did exactly what I thought you were going to do. Brad, I'm always indifferent about you. So again, guys, please make sure you are following the podcast on all of the streaming services, all the social medias. Everything can be found at Actually Ashley the podcast. I just want to say, hey, this was a great Black History Month.
I'm not mad. I thought I was going to end up mad after this
No,
episode.
I told you weren't gonna be mad. Oh, quick question: do you think Black people can be racist?
Man, you know what? I'm just tired. No.
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 Anyway,
I'm-
thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. Again, follow us on the socials, streaming everywhere at Actually Ashley Podcast, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.